And it's happening again with AI, with biotechnology. And again, there is a divide. A few countries are leading the world in this new industrial revolution. Most countries remain far, far behind. And the gap now is even bigger. In the 19th century, there was a gap between somebody who had steamships and railroads and somebody who didn't. But the gap between somebody who masters AI and somebody who doesn't is much bigger. To become a colony in the 21st century, it's not about tanks entering your country and taking over. You don't need to send the tanks in. You just need to take the data out. We are now seeing a new form of imperialism. You can call it data colonialism, when it's all about the data. Just imagine the situation, say, in Greece in 20 years, when somebody in Moscow or Beijing or Washington has the entire personal data of every politician, every journalist, every judge, every military officer in Greece. They know your entire medical record, your ailments, your problems, your past diseases. They have your entire sexual life. They know every bribe you took. They know every joke you ever told about some group or minority or whatever. Would Greece still be an independent country in such a scenario? Or would it be a data colony? AI and total surveillance is much, much more powerful than trains. And we don't have any room for error. We can't survive another world war. If we have another Stalin, it will be not only far worse than the original one, it might be irreversible. That once you install this system, it has so much power that it will not, humans will not be able to change it anymore. You know, the threat of AI is not just for democracies. It threatens authoritarian regimes even more. If I think which are the first countries that AI will effectively take over, I think it will be countries like North Korea or China. Because when you already have, to take over a country like the US, it's so complicated. Because power is like diffused everywhere. But when power is concentrated and hierarchical and you inject AI, it's much easier for the algorithms to take over. It's not like a science fiction movie. The robots are taking over. It's a gradual shift in authority. More and more decisions are taken by the algorithms, and the humans, they don't understand. They trust their algorithm, but they don't understand the decisions it is taking. And increasingly they find that they are becoming like puppets in the hands of this algorithm. And this can happen to China far quicker than to the US because it is so centralized. And, you just think about something like appointments. One of the most important things in a system like the Chinese system is appointing people to position. You'll be mayor, you'll be head of this section, you'll be head of this department. Now, increasingly, these decisions, at least on the lower level, will be taken by an AI system that gathers all the data on you from the moment you were born, what you did in kindergarten, what you did in school. It has all the data, and it analyzes it, and it decides, okay, this person will now be mayor of this town. This person will head this department. And nobody understands why. Because the calculations are far beyond the capacity of the human brain. Not necessarily evil. It can be used for good purposes too, of course. But if it falls into the wrong hands, then it will create a totalitarian regime that is far beyond anything the Soviet Union would look like a libertarian paradise. And, in a way, even the scarier thing is that it's not evil, it's not Stalin, it's not Hitler, and still, it challenges the very meaning of human life because we are used to thinking about life as a drama of decision-making. Every great work of art, you think about ancient Greek theater, it's always about some big decision. Somebody, the hero, the heroine, Antigone needs to make a decision. Oedipus needs to make a decision. Now, what happens in a world when increasingly all the decisions are taken by an algorithm that knows you better? At first, the algorithm tells you which TV shows to watch, which books to read. Increasingly, it tells you what to study, whom to marry, where to live. And we don't have any philosophical models for understanding such a life. What it means to live such a life in which all your important decisions, all your life is being managed by this outside system. Already today, billions of people trust the Facebook algorithm to tell us what is new. The Google algorithm tells us what is true. Netflix tells us what to watch, and the Amazon and Alibaba algorithms tell us what to buy. In the not-so-distant future, similar algorithms might tell us where to work and whom to marry, and also decide whether to hire us for a job, whether to give us a loan, and whether the central bank should raise the interest rate. And if you ask why you will not give a loan, or why the bank didn't raise the interest rate, the answer will always be the same. Because the computer says no. And since the limited human brain lacks sufficient biological knowledge, computing power, and data, humans will simply not be able to understand the computer's decisions. Today you have hundreds of millions of people around the world who have no healthcare at all, or almost no healthcare, and they don't have a doctor to diagnose the disease and to recommend treatment and so forth. Within a very short time, you can have a much better AI doctor on your smartphone somewhere in a village in Colombia or in Congo than the president of the US has today for human doctors. I think the big battle in this regard in the 21st century will be between privacy and health will win. Most people will be willing to give up their privacy in exchange for much better healthcare based on 24 hours monitoring of what's happening inside their bodies. I guess very soon people will walk around with biometric sensors on or even inside their bodies and will allow Google or Facebook or the Chinese government or whoever to constantly monitor what's happening inside my body, so that, you know, the day the first cancer cell starts to multiply and spread, somebody at Google or at the health authority will know and will be able very easily to nip the cancer in the bud. And the day that a flu epidemic starts, they immediately know, oh, a flu epidemic is starting, and they know who are the people who are carrying it, and they can take very effective and quick and cheap action to prevent it.